Introducing Alyssa Stadler performing the Jesse Owens incident.
The conscience of children is formed by the influences that surround them. Their notions of good and evil are the result of the moral atmosphere they breathe. Jean-Paul. In Nazi Germany, white supremacy is a required belief. But one boy, Rudi Steiner, is so heavily influenced by an Olympic winner that he disregards white supremacy altogether. In the Jesse Owens incident, taken from The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, published by Alfred A. Knopf. It was 1936, the Olympics, Hitler's Games. Jesse Owens had just completed the 4x100 meter relay and won his 4th gold medal. Talk that he was subhuman because he was black and Hitler's refusal to shake his hand were touted around the world. Even the most racist Germans were amazed with the efforts of Owens, and word of his feat slipped through the cracks. No one was more impressed than Rudi Steiner. Everyone in his family was crowded together in the family room when he slipped out and made his way to the kitchen. He pulled some charcoal from the stove and gripped it in the smallness of his hands. Now, there was a smile. He was ready. He smeared the charcoal on nice and thick till he was covered in black. Even his hair received a once-over. In the window, the boy grinned almost maniacally at his reflection, and in his shorts and tank top, he quietly abducted his older brother's bike and pedaled it up the street, heading for Hubert Oval. In one of his pockets, he'd hidden a few pieces of extra charcoal, in case some of it wore off later. In Liesel's mind, the moon was sewn into the sky that night. Clouds were stitched around it. The rusty bike crumbled to a halt at the Hubert Oval fence line, and Rudi climbed over. He landed on the other side and trotted weightily up toward the beginning of the 100. Enthusiastically, he conducted an awkward regimen of stretches. He dug starting holes in the dirt. Waiting for his moment, he paced around, gathering concentration under the darkness sky with the moon and clouds watching tightly. Owens is looking good, he began to commentate. This could be his greatest victory ever. He shook the imaginary hands of the other athletes and wished them luck, even though he knew they didn't have a chance. The starter signaled them forward. A crowd materialized around every square inch of Hubert Oval's circumference. They were all calling out one thing. They were chanting Rudi Steiner's name, and his name was Jesse Owens. All fell silent. His bare feet gripped the soil. He could feel it holding on between his toes. At the request of the starter, he raised to crouching position, and the gun clipped a hole in the night. For the first third of the race, it was pretty even, but it was only a matter of time before the charcoaled Owens drew clear and streaked away. Owens in front! The boy's shrill voice cried as he ran down the empty track straight toward the uproarious applause of Olympic glory. He could even feel the tape break into across his chest as he burst through it in first place. The fastest man alive. It was only on his victory lap that things turned sour. Among the crowd, his father was standing at the finish line like the boogeyman, or at least the boogeyman in a suit. As previously mentioned, Rudy's father was a tailor. He was rarely seen on the street without a suit and tie. On this occasion, it was only a suit and a disheveled shirt. "Was ist los?" he said to his son when he showed up in all his charcoal glory. "What is going on here?" The crowd vanished. A breeze sprang up. "I was asleep in my chair when Kurt noticed you were gone. Everyone's out looking for you." Mr. Steiner was a remarkably polite man under normal circumstances. Discovering one of his children smeared charcoal black on a summer evening was not what he considered normal circumstances. "The boy is crazy," he muttered, although he conceded that with 6 kids something like this was bound to happen. At least one of them had to be a bad egg. Right now, he was looking at it, waiting for an explanation. "Well?" Rudy panted, bending down and placing his hands on his knees. "I was being Jesse Owens," he answered as though it was the most natural thing on earth to be doing. There was even something implicit in his tone that suggested something along the lines of, "What does it look like?" The tone vanished, however, when he saw the sleep deprivation whittled under his father's eyes. Jesse Owens? Mr. Steiner was the type of man who was very wooden. His voice was angular and true. His body was tall and heavy, like oak. His hair was like splinters. "What about him?" "You know, Papa, the black magic one." "I'll give you black magic." He caught his son's ear between his thumb and forefinger. Rudy winced. "Ow, that really hurts." "Does it?" His father was more concerned with the clammy texture of charcoal contaminating his fingers. "He covered everything, didn't he?" he thought. "It's even in his ears, for goodness sake." "Come on." On the way home, Mr. Steiner decided to talk politics with the boy, as best he could. Only in the years ahead would Rudy understand it all, when it was too late to bother understanding anything.